Hello everyone, this is the Introverted Astrologer and this is my monthly forecast for the month of May 2023. I'm expecting a really volatile month, and so bear with me during this because the action ratchets up as the month goes by. The first week or so we're okay-ish and then it starts to change. So we start off and we've got the Sun in Taurus, and on the 2nd of May, Pluto turns retrograde in Aquarius at 0 degrees and 22 minutes of Aquarius. Now Pluto we can associate with the recent unrests and growing unrest amongst us, the people, I think. We can look to signs of AI, technological breakthroughs, etc. But the most intense and noteworthy developments I've seen are amongst us, the people, a collective standing up for ourselves because the power has shifted too much the other way. From the 4th of May, Mars falls back within more normal declinations where previously it's been out of bounds since 2021. What happens when a planet goes out of bounds in the declinations is that it can behave in a more extreme way, and this loosely ties in with what we've seen in terms of invasions and escalating military actions. On the 5th of May, we move on to our lunar eclipse. This is the partner of the solar eclipse that we had a couple of weeks ago. And this lunar eclipse is taking place at 15 degrees of Scorpio. So those of you affected will probably have birthdays between the 3rd and 9th of May, the 10th and 17th of February, the 5th and 11th of August, the 5th and 11th of November. If you have this eclipse affecting your sun, a personal planet, or one of your sensitive points, I don't actually see it as being problematic. This really is quite a happy, sensual, creative kind of energy. On the 8th of May, the Sun joins Uranus in the declinations in a parallel, and it also goes on to conjunct Uranus the next day. We could potentially be looking at a surprise or a breakthrough with regard to technology. We'll just have to wait and see. Right, from this point on, the tempo begins to increase. So on the 13th of May, we can see that Pluto will exactly parallel Mars in the declinations. When we're talking about Pluto-Mars, this is very, very intense energy. It is brutal, ruthless, determination on steroids. It's extreme. In and of itself, this passing parallel would not necessarily be concerning, but this is where it starts getting tricky, because Pluto and Mars are moving into an opposition. This will all become apparent within a few days. On the 15th of May, Mercury goes direct at 5 degrees and 51 of Taurus. Now Jupiter and Saturn are moving into an aspect in the declinations. It's a contraparallel, but as Mercury goes direct, it moves towards this aspect. It's exact on the 17th, and Mercury slowly comes in and joins it. Because Jupiter and Saturn are polar opposites in terms of the one Jupiter being expansion, positivity, optimism, buoyancy, and Saturn is limitations, constrictures, and slows and limits anything it touches. As Mercury joins this, are we potentially going to see some news coming out in terms of difficulties? I'm not certain. So as we go along now, it is speedy. Bear in mind, Jupiter-Saturn contraparallel on the 17th of May. By the 19th of May, something else that I find really significant takes place. Now, this is a parallel between two asteroids called Chiron and Sedna. These are covered in great depth by Magi astrologers, and although we use Chiron in modern astrology and we call it the wounded healer, it represents different things in Magi astrology, and from what I've seen so far, they're onto something. Chiron would represent love, family life, good fortune, everything falling into place just when you need it. It's got remarkably positive connotations in Magi astrology. Sedna is the exact opposite. Sedna is also a financial planet, so this does not bode well financially. Sedna represents great selfishness, evil, the very rich exploiting the poor, sheer greed, and it has very negative connotations. So again, we're seeing the coming together in the declinations of two very powerful entities that have the opposite significances to each other. And within these 2 or 3 days, as if there wasn't enough going on, Jupiter is moving to square off with Pluto, and Mars enters Leo and it opposes Pluto immediately as it does so. So we have this little T-square going on with this very ruthless, powerful energy of the Pluto-Mars opposition in a T-square with Jupiter. To make it all worse, the mean node isn't too far away, and we're within 3 degrees of forming a grand cross. Where there is a lot of energy, a square from Jupiter has the potential to amplify it all and make it bigger. This is all not too far away from the degree that we had our solar eclipse in April. I'm a bit concerned, so I thought I'd have a peek at the heliocentrics and see if that tells us any more. Mars and Saturn form an exact opposition around the 17th of May. The square from Saturn to Earth will be exact on the 20th. We seem to have a lot of energy, some of it quite negative energy, all concentrated within 2 or 3 days. On the 24th, Venus squares off with Chiron. This isn't very good financially. In fact, it's not at all good. So in summing up, I don't think we're going to find that May is particularly peaceful, and neither is it very good financially. I'd also add something regarding the global economy, because May is not particularly settled, that's for sure. But I think a lot of us are concerned about where we're heading in terms of banking, and this is across the world. So for those of you who follow these things, I'll point a gentleman out to you. I have no connection with him. I've never spoken with him. His name is Neil McCoy Ward, and you'll find him on YouTube, and he's recently joined TikTok. Take a look at him. I suspect we have a Taurus here. I'm not sure if it's his sun or his ascendant, but he knows his stuff financially, and he's very good at covering matters in the UK and the States. So he can feel something shifting, and his advice is pretty sound. Find him if you're interested. Have a lovely May.